Junkyard. Alrighty. What is good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. I am your host, Junkyard James, aka Jay Nice, and my guy Kdawg. He's gonna be here in just a few moments. He's having some technical difficulties here, but we decided let's just get this thing on the road. We'll have him jump in when he gets a minute and look at it right on time. It's my guy Kdawg. How you doing, my friend?
We're doing all right. Hopefully tonight we don't have too many bad internet problems. We'll see what happens. But I will say that this night could not be more perfect to re-establish the Junkyard Apple Cider. It's back. W inspired tonight. Got the W inspired Junkyard Apple Cider. Get yours today at I'm not sure where.com. But yeah, we're here. We're live in a living color. How are you doing, sir?
I'm well, my friend. It is a wonderful Thursday. We're back after a week off. Let me tell you something. There was a reason we were off last week, and it's this right here. This is why we were off last week.
Didn't have a voice.
Yeah.
Wasn't ready.
We weren't ready. I didn't watch Dynamite last week until Thursday night, very late Thursday night. So I wasn't prepared for an episode, but we're back. We're in living color, and let's do some housekeeping stuff real quick. As always, the Discord link listed there on the bottom of the screen. But more importantly, this week, go to the website, junkyardmediagroup.com. You can find all of our social media pages, the blog that we are still slowly but surely updating. You can listen to audio form of both this podcast and the Slapping Meat Wrestling podcast, all at junkyardmediagroup.com. DJ Wavy D is in the chat. He said he rushed to his computer thinking he was going to be late, but you shouldn't. It's not the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. If we aren't late, my friend, it's just part of the shtick. When we say 9 o'clock Eastern, it's probably 9:05.
9 p.m. rough estimates. We start the show on Junkyard time. That's just how we roll. All right.
We tell you 9 o'clock. We tell you 9 o'clock so that you can get to your computer in time to not miss the amazing intro with the cowbell and all of that awesome stuff. But we are also, like you said, we are a W sponsored or W affiliated team podcast here. Go to w.gg, use the code Beyond the Yard at checkout. I actually probably will be using that code here shortly because I just ran out earlier this week of my stuff. Hopefully they got the stuff I like back in stock, and I'll get some more W. Yeah. W.gg at checkout. Use code Beyond the Yard. It's actually really good. No BS. None of that nasty artificial stuff that some of the big brands use. And then let's make a push here. We have, I think, at last count, 31 subscribers on YouTube. Let's get that up. We can do it. Let's share this with your friends. Share this with your wrestling communities that you're a part of. Let's get the subscriber count up. Let's make this a big community and have them all join the Discord as well. And let's get going with this show. I want to one last kind of word of note, I'm keeping up with the Technical Thursday brackets, and we missed last week, but we still counted it. On the New Japan side, Tomohiro Ishii advanced, beating Shota Umino. David Finlay beat Gabe Kidd. Hiromu Takahashi beat Naito in an upset. And Zack Sabre Jr. beat Rin Narita. And then we ran the WWE side of the bracket on the Discord. That's why you got to join the Discord so you can vote for these type of things. Pete Dunne beat Damian Priest. Seth Rollins beat Kevin Owens. Ilya Dragunov beat Cody Rhodes. And Gunther beat Randy Orton. We're running the AEW side of the first round. It's the last week of first round matchups. And it's the AEW side of things. We have Will Ospreay against Daniel Garcia. Kind of convenient timing for Daniel Garcia, don't you think? We have Bryan Danielson versus Kyle Fletcher. Roderick Strong against Swerve Strickland. And Kyle O'Reilly against Konosuke Takeshita. Those are some pretty stacked matchups going on. On the Discord, you can vote for who's the best technical wrestler there. But let's get going. I'm going to start with AEW content. We got some SummerSlam stuff we'll talk about in the middle of the show. But I want to start with one AEW topic. We'll go to the WWE stuff, and then we'll end out with the rest of AEW. The internet was broken last night or yesterday for two reasons. One, Samantha Irving decided she was going to post a full nude photo on Instagram and not think people were going to notice, apparently. Or maybe she just wanted the attention. I don't know. That broke the internet for some reason. But the second one, well, we'll talk about it. But first, let's introduce it.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, cut the chatter. You ain't talking money, then your talking don't matter. Ching, ching, bling, bling, patent pockets. We take that.
What, man? That has to be one of the best intro songs in the world. Y'all, Shane McMahon was someone snuck a picture, though. I think Tony Khan wanted the leaked photo to come out. He was meeting with Shane McMahon on Monday. Is he coming to the AEW? What do you think?
I don't know. I'm indifferent on how we think about that. I think that he would bring a very good marketing idealistic resume that would, I think, help AEW tremendously with the marketing side of things. That's been one of my biggest gripes about AEW is the not so great marketing strategies that they have done over the last couple of years, to be honest with you. So if he were to join, I hope it's not so much on an on-camera role, but and bring that business and marketing experience with him to hopefully, just enhance the marketing side of AEW. But my wife saw this, and that's her favorite wrestler, McMahon. So she would be tickled to death and thrilled if the man were to join. So that is really sarcasm. She hates Shane McMahon. she hates the dance, the music. The music wouldn't follow, I don't think. But yeah, she's not a big
You don't
fan,
think?
But, I feel like it's Jim Johnson, and I think WWE probably owns that. Unless Jim Johnson owns it and he gets it to AEW, or they make a remix version or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But it's an interesting time to maybe possibly do something like that. If they were to introduce him, I think we would look back on that leak being a soft introduction to him to kind of get the feel and the gauge of that, and then maybe have the bigger reveal at All in London or All Out 2 weeks later in Chicago, something like that.
Yeah, so the reason I think that this photo was a planned leak is Tony Khan likes to build anticipation to debuts and shocking things that happen. And what would be the biggest shock of all if Shane McMahon, the son of the guy that you've been fighting for that guy's company until just recently when he stepped down for the past 5 years, and he jumped ship. Now, I don't think it got the reaction that Tony Khan wanted, because there's a lot of people that don't want Shane McMahon anywhere near the product. In fact, I ran a poll on the Junkyard Media Group Twitter page, Would you like seeing Shane McMahon in AEW? Yes, no, or indifferent. 29% said yes. 50% said no. 21% said they were indifferent. I've seen some people say that it would be the equivalent of WCW hiring Vince Russo as a sign of the downfall of AEW. I wouldn't go that far. I do think, though, if he does sign, it is an on-screen role. I don't know if he'll wrestle. I don't think he'll necessarily have to wrestle. And it furthers my anticipation for Shane McMahon to come back, because Mercedes Monè and Kamille the Brickhouse, which her name in NWA was Kamille Brickhouse, so I guess that's a clever way to continue to call her what she was in NWA. I don't know, but Kamille and Mercedes Monè introduced, I guess, a possible stable called the Monè Corporation, I think is what she called it. Now, I think they're going to add a few extra women. I think the Renegade Twins probably will be part of this group, that's awesome. Charlotte is finally back after taking a extended personal break for some personal things that were going on. Robin has been wrestling singles competition for quite a while in ROH. I think they're underrated talent, and I think they would work really well with Mercedes. But having Shane McMahon be an authority figure, or Mercedes is the CEO and the Jacksons are the EVPs, so having Shane McMahon have some other business title be his gimmick for Monè Corporation would be I think a perfect, have him as an on-screen role, but as a heel authority figure. Please don't let him wrestle. Don't let him wrestle Darby Allin, even though you know he's going to want to wrestle Darby Allin. Don't let him do it. But I just 5 years ago in 2019, you would have never have even thought, Shane McMahon might come to AEW. And the fact that it is even in the realm of possibility, I think it's just so, I don't know, kind of interesting that this is just a possibility. But we'll move on. I just wanted to play that theme song. It was less than 30 seconds, WWE. Please don't put a copyright on this. All right? Please? Thank you. Let's jump in and let's talk about SummerSlam this week. We are a WWE shop affiliate. The code is in the description below. But I got to be honest with you. I mean, you can get your merchandise, and please use our link. Help out the podcast. This card, it just does nothing for me for SummerSlam. There's maybe one match that I'm halfway excited for. I'm trying to. I had the card saved earlier because I sent it to you. In Facebook Messenger. Let me see if I can find it. It was earlier this morning. Sorry, there it is. All right, let's go through the SummerSlam card real quick. But before, is there anything really exciting about this 8-hour pay-per-view? By the way, they have a pre-show that starts like at 4 o'clock Eastern time or something like that. Like on Peacock, it's promoting it as an 8-hour stream. Yeah.
I think that's also going to factor in the. I don't know if they do the press conferences on Peacock. I know they do it on YouTube. They probably are counting the post show is probably going to be about 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour or so. Take that. Pre-show is probably going to be 2 hours, there's 3 hours, and then 4 hours, maybe 4.5 for the pay-per-view. I don't know. I'm not too. AEW pay-per-views are long as is, so I'm not worried about if WWE pay-per-views are long. They're PLEs, or whatever you want to call them. They're supposed to feel special, and if they're long, that is what it is. I guess maybe why they're going to do a 2-day SummerSlam starting next year, so that to look forward to. Not a fan of the 2 days, but on one hand, okay with it being for WrestleMania because that's a big show when it's 6, 7, 8 hours, or pay-per-view itself is 5+ hours, and there's a lot of stuff to get to. You're pretty drained by the end of the night, so I'm okay with that being 2 hours or 2 days. I don't feel SummerSlam is going to be 2 days. God, I hope Royal Rumble never gets to be 2 days. But it is what it is. I think there's some intriguing on the card. I'm not overall stupidly hyped up for it, but I think it will be a fairly good show overall.
Yeah, I'm looking at this card. There's 5 matches, and if it's a 4.5 hour long pay-per-view for 5 matches, and you go by the way that WWE has done their fuck it, I'm not calling them PLEs. That's a fucking retarded name. They're pay-per-views. You look at the structure of their pay-per-views in the past year or so, 50% plus of this pay-per-view is going to be non-wrestling related content. And I can't stand that. So that's why I'm really not excited about it. This is a big show, like one of your big 4. You should have Tony Khan level number of matches. Wavy D saying there's 7 matches, but this thing shows 5 that I'm looking at. So let me pull up the Wikipedia page and just double check. Maybe this thing lied to me. Matches. All right, there are 7 matches. Okay, this thing lied to me. Anyways, let's go through these matches. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. We've seen
By
this.
the time we get it.
Well, yeah, but there's a stipulation. Seth Rollins is the special guest referee.
That I love. I mean, unless Rollins is hurt, I want to have a match on the card. Especially
I don't
referee role, but
what's the over under that CM Punk injures himself again?
Hey, listen, you got to give the guy some props. The last 3 pay-per-views he's been on, they have all been in a stadium, minus Survivor Series. Yeah,
No.
Wembley, all in. Some Royal Rumble at Tropicana Field, and now the Brown Stadium, which I have an intriguing thought about WWE using stadium shows for their big 4.
I will not.
You're not going
to. Go ahead. You go ahead. I'll let you go.
If you're not going to sell out the entire stadium, why are you going to book it? It's a big 4, I get it. But we're not doing it for Survivor Series. I feel 2 PLEs, 2 of those big 4 should be in the stadium, and the other 2 should not. SummerSlam and Survivor Series should not. That's not a poke fun at WWE for attendance because I know AEW is struggling. I'm not critiquing that. All in London's probably going to have about 50,000 down from the 70 to 80,000. At that point, I don't feel it's necessary to be using SummerSlam as a outdoor venue. If like when they had it a couple years ago at the Titans Stadium, they didn't sell the other half of the seating. It wasn't because the sales weren't doing great. They just didn't open them up. They didn't open up the ones for this. I don't understand that. Just give me a bigger, let it sell out, and it'll be fine as is. It doesn't have to be in a stadium.
Right.
Kind of change it up a little bit. They don't need to do that every year. Anyways,
Absolutely, yeah. No, you said I have to give CM Punk props, and I will refuse to do so for the rest of my life. That's like Vince Russo and Jim Cornette level animosity right there.
That's
because fair. I don't know if you can see this. You probably can't. Hold on. Let me see if it'll focus. No, it is. Jack Perry is my spirit animal, and you fucked with Jack Perry, and now I hate you forever. CM Punk, you can just go ahead and retire, and I hope this is a 5-second squash match. And
he made Jack Perry famous, right?
No, Jack Perry made CM Punk famous.
It's the other way around, but okay.
Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. Yay. Again, we get to see this match for the 1,000,000th time because they've been running it on Monday Night Raw for the past.
It's squash for Braun to win. He needs to go back to NXT because, I mean, that's ridiculous. To have this match again on a PLE when we've already seen it.
Right.
I don't like it.
Logan Paul and LA Knight for the U.S. belt. And coming into this show, I was like, this is Logan Paul's hometown. He's going to get this dub. But then he had to say what he had to say on social media today. And he got a lot of backlash on it. So it would not surprise me.
It's the truth.
Yes. Yeah. But anyways, it would not surprise me if WWE to appease a part of their fan base would put the belt on LA Knight just to have Logan Paul lose as some sort of punishment for saying what he wants to say on social media. But even if not, this match doesn't do anything to excite me because, like, yeah, Logan Paul's good in the ring, but we've seen this before. We've seen LA Knight and Logan Paul for quite a while now, haven't we? Like, this has been building for quite some time. Like they weren't part of the Money in the Bank in any way, shape, or form. I think LA Knight was in the match, but that was it. And I don't know. This is just a weak feud with very little. And again, I don't watch the show a whole lot, so maybe there is a lot of buildup. But I just don't see this as a match that's like Big Four pay-per-view worthy match.
I like this match. I think it's good. It might be one of the better matches on the card. I can go. Logan Paul can go. Maybe this is the crowning achievement for LA Knight to finally win the title in the main roster. I think Logan's done a good job as being U.S. champion, but I'm a fan of both the guys. I think they'll do good work. That's one I will be looking forward to on Saturday. So that one I'm not as much. I like the match. I like the matchup.
And then we got Bayley and Nia Jax for the women's championship.
There's a piss break match. Anytime I want this is on the card, it doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything for me. Feel bad for Bayley having the world title and getting to these kind of matches.
Right. Like, here's the thing. And on SmackDown, do you not have Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair and this is going to be where Bayley wins over Nia Jax, and guess who shows up? Charlotte Flair's back, and now you get Bayley versus Charlotte Flair build up for WrestleMania
or Survivor Series or the Rumble.
Series. So yeah. I mean, that's what that's going to be. It's super predictable. I'm not a big fan of this match. And I like the next match. If it wasn't so convoluted with a bunch of other characters, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley for the women's world title. We all know the Judgment Day is getting involved in this in some way, shape, or form. And they don't have to get involved. Like, Rhea can do her own bidding. And I'm not a fan of the whole angle that they're running with Dominic. And it's either going to turn one way. It's going to show that Finn Balor set Dominic up, and they kick Finn Balor out of the Judgment Day, or they kick Dominic Mysterio out of the Judgment Day. That's just the only way I see it going down. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan. Like, I like the match. I love Liv Morgan. Rhea can go in the ring. I'm just not excited with the buildup of the storyline. And it's been the major storyline for the past several weeks on Raw, and I have watched a lot of Monday Night Raw here recently, against my will, half the time, and and it's just, I don't get it. I don't get the whole storylines. Maybe I'm not casual enough to understand it. I don't know. Apparently, Wavy D says Nia Jax will be winning, and there's going to be a Nia and Tiffany story, and then Tiffany and Charlotte, which makes sense.
Why would we have the story when Tiffany has the Money in the Bank? It's supposed to be the element of surprise. It's not supposed to be I'm going to cash in on the fun match, or I guess to betray Charlotte. That's supposed to be the story. It's going to build us a surprise if Nia wins it, and then Tiffany cashes in the Money in the Bank and then on Nia, and then that sets up the feud for Survivor Series or something. And then we get Tiffany and Charlotte at Mania for the build starting at the Rumble or whatever. That's fine, but Jax just doesn't do anything for me. I don't like her. Just does nothing. She does nothing.
She's not that good of an in-ring performer.
Get past it, whether it's Tiffany carrying the title, or we get to Bayley and Tiffany, or potentially Charlotte and Tiffany. That's probably where it's going to end up at WrestleMania next year. That's fine, but we just need to get past this point because this is just murky. It's not good. Move on.
Absolutely. So yeah, Liv and Rhea. Then we get to 2 men's world title matches, and we get Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa. And how did we not know who's going to show up on Saturday? Oh, who possibly could show up on Saturday? They're going to have the same match Roman Reigns has every single. There's going to be the ref bump, and then the ref is magically knocked out for 85 minutes, and then
and different interferences.
And Roman Reigns is back, and Paul Heyman came back from the dead, and now we get to set up for War Games in Vancouver.
My question is for War Games, are we doing Bloodline versus Team Cody? Are we doing Bloodline versus Bloodline? What are we going to set up for that?
I think it makes a lot of sense. If the idea is going to be, it kind of depends on where they want the story to go with Cody. Are they doing Rock and Cody at Mania next year, or are they doing Rock and Roman at Mania next year? If it goes Rock,
I would have to go Rock and Roman. You would have to think.
So if you do Rock and Roman at Mania next year, then it would be Bloodline versus Bloodline, and Rock turns on Roman during the War Games match. You would assume, right?
So have Rock and Roman on the same team with 2 other Bloodline, and then have Solo and that team be on his side. And then they kind of get down to it. Rock turns on Roman, or vice versa, whichever, and then cause Roman team to lose. And then we build that up all the way through WrestleMania. I can see that. I'd be down with that. And this one would have no pressure onto it because it's not going to have a title interfered with it.
Right.
Let that story carry itself. One line thing. We don't need a title. We don't need that stipulation. We don't need a Rumble winner. Let that thing carry itself out, and then let's get to Mania and have a great build for that. And that match will actually have people saying, you know what, now I'm invested into it. Let's see it at Mania.
Absolutely. Correct. I think Cody will retain at this juncture, only because the next pay-per-view, I believe, is Bad Blood.
Do they have a Saudi show in September, or is that also in October?
Good question. I don't know the pay-per-view schedule. Hold on. Next one's Bash in Berlin. Sorry.
Okay, so they in September.
So
or a little, I guess one of the two.
Yeah. So I think the Berlin show.
I think it's going to be Berlin all out. I think that's how they're going to do that, unless they do Berlin on one of the 2 weekends for AEW.
Berlin is August 31st, which is why Tony
So
Khan.
it's in between All In.
Yeah, which is why Tony Khan moved the show.
They should have moved it to begin with. So actually, thank you WWE for doing that. So forcing to do that. Can you all schedule 2 pay-per-views back to back next year, and we can have All Out either scrapped? That would be great.
Can you do your Prohibited Portal show with NXT?
Can we do like Worlds Collide, Bash from Berlin, Bash everywhere?
So I don't know. I assume Cody's going to retain the Bash at Berlin. Let's just be honest. This gets us to the main match: Damian Priest and Gunther. Gunther's going to win, and he's going to carry it back into Germany where he started wrestling. He's going to have the belt, and it's going to be a show built around Gunther. They've done this before with the whole Clash at the Castle and Drew McIntyre, so it's nothing different. I get it. It's good move. You're going to be able to advertise your guy, so it makes a lot of sense. I'm assuming Cody will retain, and then we get Damian Priest and Gunther, which is probably going to be the best match of the night because Damian Priest can go in the ring, and Gunther can go in the ring.
I'm looking forward to that match.
So I think that'll be probably the best match. It sucks that there's 5 hours of extra bullshit that we have to sit through before we get to that match. But yeah, I think that match will be good. I didn't intend to spend this much time talking about this, but because we did talk about WWE for so long, use our link in the description box and help support the podcast. Maybe we'll talk about WWE more often. Woo! All right, let's get going to the real good stuff. AEW. All right.
Oh man.
We are a non-biased podcast, he said sarcastically.
I need that on a t-shirt. Put that in quotation marks. We are a non-biased podcast.
Yes. That'll be the next one on the merch site. I'll have to get that put up there.
That'd be good.
All right, here we go. We talked about Shane McMahon already, so we can check that one off. Monè Corporation, that kind of built into it. The other rumor that came out this week was the fact that Daniel Garcia's contract has expired. And there's a possibility he's looking into WWE. But now this morning, Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer said he's more than likely re-signing with AEW. I honestly don't know. Daniel Garcia is one of those guys where, I hope really badly that he stays. Because he is a really good young wrestler that can spend a long time in AEW and be, literally, maybe not a day one pillar, but a next generation pillar of AEW. But, man, he'd fit in really well in WWE, I think. Or at least in NXT. He can fit the NXT product. So I wouldn't be shocked if he left. But, man, I want him to stay in AEW. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Daniel Garcia, you got to look at over the last 2 to 3 years how his run's gone. It's gone being pushed really strongly to then going with the JAS. And obviously you have the whole thing with Daddy Magic and Cool Ange and that whole thing. And then he kind of gets off TV and he comes back on, has maybe a couple good feuds, storylines, gets written off TV, and it just seems like it's this big ebb and flow with him. There's not a good, solid plan for him on a consistent basis, and then we get him with the rub with Ospreay and MJF, which is great. But it's like at the butt end of things, and he's been written off TV. It's like if I'm just seeing him frustrated, yeah, we get the pop for him in Buffalo. We get the crowd behind him. He gets into these prominent feuds. It seems like we're really starting to get behind him and build him up, and then we crumble back down.
It's like they're scared. It's like they're scared to pull the trigger on like a title or something with him. And I wish they would pull the trigger, and maybe that's what he's holding out on is like, hey, I want you guys, like, I've proven to you that the fans like me.
Yeah, the only way you're really going to know is if you do it. I mean,
right.
You don't have to put the world title on the guy right now. I mean, that's what
Right,
the
but
TNT
like,
title's out there, the
TNT
Continental
belt.
title. You know, give him a win over Okada would be great. Give him a win over Jack Perry would be great. Give him a win
Right.
over MJF or Ospreay for the national title. We have plenty of secondary titles on the roster that should have been one of those
Sorry.
champions by now.
I have to correct you. It's the American title.
International title. Anyways, so I don't understand why we can't just pull the trigger and just see what happens. Worst comes to worst, doesn't have a great title reign. It's fine. We'll get it off of him and
Right.
figure something else. But I hope that Daniel Garcia kind of plays with AEW a little bit. Hey, listen, guys, they gave me a really good offer here. I'm not sure if I'll stay. And then have TK for the EVP, sit down with him. Let him express those feelings. And it's not that, hey, if you don't push me, if you don't give me a title, I'm leaving. It's just give me the ball. Give me the ball and trust me for a year. And let me see how I do. And
Right.
if I fail, you know what? It's a year that we tried, it didn't work. And when my
Absolutely.
tries up again, I can leave and it's no harm, no foul. But use the leverage if you're DG. Use the leverage.
Right.
Even if it's NXT, just say, hey, listen, they're giving me a golden opportunity over there.
And I would even
Can I
go
have
so
your promise
far.
you're going to try something?
Right. And I would even go so far as to like say, hey, I'm not blind. You see what they're doing with Ethan Page over there.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him the world title a month into his run there. And I'm sure I can get something similar from them.
They
And
put the
so
women's tag belts on Jade Cargill the first year in her run too.
right. And like Cody's the world champion. So they like using former AEW talent and letting them run with and being made
Well,
big star.
let's be careful with that. We still have what's his face from Tiger King over there chilling in the mid card, not doing anything. So
Alexis King.
pump the brakes on that for a minute. Yeah, how's that faring for you there, bud?
Right. But I mean, yeah. I hope. I don't know. We'll have to see where this Daniel Garcia thing turns out, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. Daniel Garcia is a Buffalo kid, and me being a Buffalo Bills football fan, like that's kind of cool to have a guy from Buffalo, like either be in AEW. Same thing with Butcher and the Blade, like they're from that area, and the Bunny before she got
And the
cut.
Angela Parker's from there too.
Mm-hmm. So that's always cool to see those guys from the Western New York area get a shot but yeah, speaking of contracts, AEW's exclusive talk with Warner Bros. Ended yesterday, the 31st. So now they're free to talk with other companies. And now here's what I'm thinking. Because there's this rumor going around that essentially on paper there's a deal done with Warner Bros. And AEW. But it hasn't been signed and it's not officially official. And I'm thinking, just like you were saying with Daniel Garcia, if AEW would be dumb not to at least say, hey, Fox, like we'll charge you a lot less than what you're paying for SmackDown, and we can bring you a show that even on a bad day, gets a 0.18 in the key demographic for advertising. And with your exposure, you have more reach than TBS does. We could probably get a bigger number. I think AEW would be dumb not to at least extend it, just to listen to if anybody else is interested, and if not, then say, yeah, we'll sign this deal. Especially if Warner and Fox and Disney, I think it is, they're doing some sports package streaming company that is like a 3-way deal. Like, I think there could be a way that they could intermingle Warner and Fox. Because right now, I don't think ROH has a TV deal. I don't think it's part of the new deal. It's a separate entity, so they have to, as far as I understand, they have to get a TV deal separate from what AEW as a brand gets. But real quick, I didn't mention this, but I saw that news right before we went on the air that the exclusive window ended. And I wanted to get your thoughts on should AEW just take Warner's offer, or maybe get a feel on who else may want them?
I think it would be a no-brainer for them to just feel out what they're looking like. And even if they're not great offers, it's just something to look at. And I wouldn't say use leverage, because you really can't use that as leverage, because your initial deal is probably the. But that's a good business strategy. Is just go out and see what comes out of it. Just have some conversation. And maybe that's why they talked to Shane McMahon was, hey, you know a lot about this whole TV industry stuff. You know a lot of stuff. Could you either give me some insight on what would work? Could you maybe talk to some of the network people, give me the contacts, maybe we can have a conversation. Maybe that's what it is, and that's all it is. But Shane has a really good, strong presence in the television market and network executives and things like that. So maybe that was a good indication or a good conversation between him and Tony to set up some either meetings or conversations with other network execs just to have a feel-out process. And even if nothing comes of it, it's at least a good thing to just explore. Now that the exclusive window is closed, why not just test it out, see what you come up with? And if somebody gives you a good offer, go back to Warner Brothers and say, hey, listen, we got a good offer. We really like you guys. Is there something else you might be able to afford on the table for us, and we'll stay?
Right.
I was hoping that we would already have an announcement by now for the new TV deal, and hopefully we would have All in London on the Max deal. Maybe they could still get that done in a week, and they can make All in London the first pay-per-view streaming exclusively on Max. I doubt it, but it'll be an interesting, I think, in the next couple months for sure, since obviously the AEW TV deal ends at the end of this year.
Right.
I think we'll definitely know something before, I think, September, the first week of September. That's usually when a lot of the pros like to showcase their upcoming seasonal stuff on the fall and winter months, just bringing forward to the next year. So that would tie in perfectly with AEW having some sort of a TV deal announcement is within that first third quarter era or the fall pro lineup for these TV companies to showcase their stuff. So I think definitely in the next month it's going to heat up. It's going to be interesting, and definitely have a lot more to look into and talk about over the next month when it comes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just a few more things I want to mention. We'll end the show by kind of giving our overall impression leading into All In. We missed last week talking about Blood and Guts, so maybe we'll recap that there to end it. But this week, Kamille had her debut in ring against a local enhancement talent, Brittany Jade, I think is her name, Brittany May, something like that. And I thought she looked good. Now, obviously, it's enhancement talent. She was going to get the win regardless, but she looked good in terms of moves and skill set, and I'm really impressed with the presentation of Kamille. There's so many people that were like, Camille's been signed for months and you haven't used her yet. And this is exactly why they haven't, because they had to build the right presentation for her, and they have the right presentation for her. And I think this works. This works well, that she can kind of be the enforcer for Mercedes. She doesn't really have to do a whole lot of promo work off the bat, because I don't think that's something that she's done a whole lot of. Maybe in the NWA, though I haven't watched NWA and God knows how long. I don't even know if they do promos. And
I know for sure, the early run of the NWA, they definitely did that studio style and try to bring back some of the old school aspects of it, where they do a lot of in-studio interviews and stuff like that. So when she was NWA Women's Champ, I am very confident to say that she probably had a lot of promos and stuff that she had to do, maybe some vignettes, but yeah, I would think that she had some decent exposure to doing those type of promos.
Those were like taped, right? They weren't live. I guess that's where I'm going as.
From what I remember watching NWA a little bit on their YouTube stuff, that it was that in-studio audience and crowd,
Okay.
and they would usually have that interview happen in studio. I'm sure there's also some pre-tape stuff too, but typically when you're watching the show, as they're taping it, or if it is live, they have those interviews in kind of like the old NWA doing Georgia Championship Pro used to do, where they did a lot of
Gotcha.
in-house, in-studio type interviews. But still, obviously, that's a smaller scale versus network
Right.
television. But
So I think Kamille may be my favorite in the women's division right now, just off of that one match. She looks the part, and I think just like with the Mariah May Toni Storm thing, like let's build this story really well, and then her turn on Mercedes, because eventually we'll get that turn on Mercedes, or Mercedes will turn on her, will lead us to a money match at some point between Kamille and Mercedes Monè, and I'm excited for it. Your impressions on Kamille, just in the little bit of time that we got to see her in the ring last night.
yeah, I thought she looked good. I thought obviously it's a squash match, so she's going to be the crap of the enhancement talent. But I think the moveset that she had was really good. And obviously she is one of the stronger women on the roster. So I would love to see a type of match with her and Statlander, her and Willow. I think those type of matchups could pose a really type of competition for her. I think eventually this will lead to, and maybe it happens at London, that not the match, but the setup where Kamille and Mercedes face Britt,
And Jamie Hayter.
and then Mercedes wins. They start beating down on Britt, Kamille, and her, and then Jamie Hayter comes out, gets that massive pop in her home country, and then it sets up a tag match, maybe it All Out. So that may be a very simple, easy transition to carry into All Out. Make that a good matchup. I think Kamille would match up well with Jamie. But yeah, I thought impressive, looked good. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, going down the road with the turn or whatever the case may be happening down the road, that we see some sort of Mariah May, Toni Storm type of thing, where it's Mercedes and Kamille, something to that extent. Should be interesting to see what happens down the road in the coming months.
And then we'll end the show by kind of recapping the last 2 weeks of AEW product. I guess going back to Blood and Guts. I thought the Blood and Guts match in and of itself was really strong, though I didn't like the ending of them just quitting. I didn't like that setup. It kind of made the Young Bucks look weak. And then the whole thing about the Jack Perry chair shot with a gimmicked chair, that was fun. We got what's his face, QT Marshall, threatening to show people how they gimmick chairs on social media. It's AEW. Like, chair shots are going to happen. They've happened for 5 years now. Like, I don't know. People just want to find something to complain about with AEW, and that was the one thing that they did. And then Darby Allin threatening to kill a man basically by setting him on fire. But I think they're doing a really good job overall of setting up several storylines for Wembley. Even with the whole Daniel Garcia thing, I think they're doing a good job of, well, if he signs with WWE, they did a really good job of writing him off. But if he re-signs with AEW, they already have a feud for his return, so he's not just kind of sitting there waiting for them to create something. They have something already created. And so I think Tony Khan does a good job of building towards these big pay-per-views. And apparently 2,500 tickets were sold after Dynamite last night for the Wembley show, which that's a pretty good ticket day. And hopefully they get closer to selling out the allotted amount of tickets. They're not going to fill that arena up this year. So any big takeaways from the last couple of weeks of AEW product?
Yeah, I thought that they're doing a really good job setting up Wembley and actually doing a really good job with the storylines and the focal point on them. The Mariah May, Tony Storm things is very fascinating. Very intrigued with. They're doing a really good job with the Brit, the TBS Championship with the ladies. I need to see more of Danielson and Swerve. I'm still not totally sold on that. I do like the whole career versus title thing. That's setting up to be a very good stipulation there. Still got 3 weeks. Make sure we build this thing up. That's supposed to be your main event. Build it up more. MJF and Ospreay, they're already doing a really good job there. Still more of Darby and Jack kind of intermingle their feud. And I'm curious to see where Hangman falls in all of this, and the Bucks, and Okada, and kind of see where they fall. The Acclaimed, I think it's going to be the Acclaimed and the Bucks at Wembley, or maybe a triple threat tag match with the Acclaimed are in the Bucks. We'll have to see where that happens. And then if there's going to be a Hangman Okada match, I mean, they got 3 weeks for that, but it's not really panning out for much of that. But I'm interested to see what happens with those two.
So with Okada, the last I heard, and they're kind of awaiting, and I don't know, with Kenny Omega just having his surgery, the plan was to have Omega fight Okada at Wembley. But he just had surgery, and I don't know how long that recovery time takes on the surgery that he has. So I don't even know if he's going to be able to wrestle. So I think that's what they're waiting with Okada is if Omega is able to perform, we'll get Omega and Okada, but if he's not able to perform, they need to come up with something quick because that title is basically deemed irrelevant at this point. Like we haven't seen Okada mention the belt for quite some time.
Yeah, that belt has definitely become the least on the totem pole as far as relevancy, and the tag team titles aren't far behind because the Bucks haven't defended that damn thing in months. I get it from a heel perspective. You don't defend it much, and they're the EVPs, so I mean the heel-ish tactics for that make sense. It's just, I mean, we've just not really done well with that title presentation as is. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 3 weeks as we lead into All In. I'm very, very interested to see how the first Dynamite in the UK does with that Cardiff, Wales show.
Right. For
Dynamite happening 3 weeks from last night. That'll be an awesome thing to see as the first Dynamite overseas like that. Ticket sales are looking good for that. This should be a sellout by the time they get to Showtime. If they can get about 50,000 in Wembley, that's going to drop off from I get it. But so it would be a very strong showing for them to be able to do that kind of number, second year in a row, 50,000 plus there. So yeah, it's looking really good leading into All In London, and really big month here for AEW between All In and All Out. Hopefully a TV deal coming up, some cool shows happening along the way. A show that you will be present at next week in the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem.
Yes, sir. You were mentioning ticket sales. I was going to say a show that ticket sales haven't been doing really good at is next week's Dynamite, and this week's Dynamite in Greenville.
At least this one got over 3,000, I think. Next week, if they get 100, the way that it's not the biggest arena in the world, so if they can fill the hard cam a little bit and the camera side, it'll look better on TV from that perspective, even if it is 2,500. But hopefully, leading into the next couple shows, that they'll hopefully have a much better showing, especially in Cardiff.
Absolutely. Well, breaking news. I just was scrolling on social media for a minute. Mark Henry's son, Jacob Henry, has signed with the WWE. I didn't know he had a son that was a wrestler, but okay. He signed with WWE. And
his son was an amateur wrestler, I believe, at Oklahoma. And he'd been going to school there for the past few years and was doing amateur wrestling there.
I remember Turner.
I didn't know if he had a actual aspiration to be a pro wrestler, but that's WWE. That's the formula for you, is to get the athletes and then transition them into pro wrestlers. So not a huge surprise, but that's very cool, though. I'm sure that's a proud day in the Henry household. So congrats to him. Hopefully they don't give him sexual chocolate junior. Will not be good.
Mark Henry has to show up one more time to turn on his son in a retirement speech.
That'd be dead funny. Well, Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio. We're supposed to be seeing that.
Yeah. You know what would make the Rhea Ripley Liv Morgan match so much better is if Dominic Mysterio was above the ring in a shark cage in a custody of Dominic Mysterio match.
Almost 20 years to the day.
Yes, sir.
Lordy day.
But that's all I really wanted to talk about. Anything else that you wanted to mention before we rock off for the night?
I would just say, first of all, it's funny how the co-host and the host, we don't plan for this crowd to happen, but he's wearing a South Carolina shirt and wearing a Clemson hat. That's just the kind of chemistry we have. It's amazing how that works. College football's coming up, so that'll be fun to talk about a little bit on the show.
I wore this because they were in South Carolina last night. So
I wore the Clemson hat, so there you go. Evidently, off screen, MJF had a Clemson shirt and a South Carolina shirt, and he wiped his ass with it. So that's pretty funny. But hey, at least he acknowledged both the schools. Sure, Coastal Carolina doesn't feel the love, but there's a reason for that. Let's see, 20 days from now, so 3 weeks from last night, the AEW Go Home show will be in Cardiff. The night after we'll be doing that podcast. Obviously, that'll probably be our All-In London preview show. Should be here for that. Hopefully, all as well. I'll be here for that. Wife has got pretty big operation that's going to be happening that one, the 21st. So probably won't be watching that night. I think she'll be a trooper for that. Just kidding. She'll watch whatever she wants. She deserves that. So probably we'll watch that Thursday. For anybody out there, just positive vibes for that. Hopefully all will be taken care of. We'll do a little bit of stuff on that end, but we got good news on it, positive stuff. So hopefully all we need to do is just get that surgery out of the way, and we'll be good to go. So other than that, that's all I got.
Good news. That's all good news on that end. Hopefully all goes well with the operation. Hey, my birthday was yesterday.
Yes, it's late birthday now, but we made the social media post last night. We put it in the Discord. We tried to celebrate both you and the host of the Slapping Meat Wrestling podcast, We Too Deep. Both you all twinsies there had your birthday yesterday, so happy now late birthday, but we wished that yesterday on the socials, so we didn't miss that.
I'm now even more older than Will Ospreay and Sky Blue and half of the AEW roster.
You see what we're doing. We're talking about them versus doing what they're doing.
Right.
Hey, Wrestling Evolution LLC, based out of Denver, is opening up training the next week. So
Colorado or
North Carolina? Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So if you're looking to be a wrestler or trainer in the Lincolnton, Huntersville, Denver, North Carolina area, reach out to them at Wrestling Evolution LLC on Facebook. Signups are underway and not badly priced either. So if you want to be in the business in some capacity, whether it's behind the scenes or valet or a manager or a wrestler, go check them out. It's a pretty cool thing that they're doing. They host monthly shows or bi-month or either 2 month or 1 month or one show. But cool people out there. Give them a follow on Facebook and all that good stuff. But yeah.
Cool thing. Well, until next week, my friend, I think we shall bid each other adieu. The Junkyard Apple Cider is out. It's Dubby inspired. I'm working on getting this is a non-biased podcast shirt up. We'll get that out there for y'all. Follow us on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Share, follow on Spotify. I'm not 100% sure. Share, like, comment, leave us a review. Let us know what we're doing good, what we're doing bad. If you want to be part of the show, we would love to have you on the show. Let us know. Give us a DM. I'd love to have someone fight Kdawg again in a trivia battle. We haven't had anybody else step up.
Another victim. Another victim. Prizes. All you gotta do is beat me. Get a free prize.
Absolutely. And but until next week, this has been another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. We will see y'all next week.
God bless.